Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nibhishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. So, welcome everybody. I see a lot of new faces from last year, so this should be interesting. So this is my name is Dravida Das. I was initiated in 1973 by Srila Prabhupada. I worked ever since on his books, magazines, things like that. So I'm an editor for the Bhakti Book Trust. And back in 1997, I had the great privilege to be in Vrindavan during Prabhupada's Disappearance Festival, which is always around this time. He'd been gone 20 years by then. And so I was inspired to write this poem, and this was first offered on Prabhupada's Disappearance Day in 1997 in Vrindavan. Now, those of you who are familiar with the Gurvashtaka we sing every morning for Mangalarti, these are 8 prayers by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and they nicely describe, very beautifully describe the qualities and the blessings and the mercy of the spiritual master. And so I took those as inspiration, and I wrote this about Srila Prabhupada. Trapped within samsara's all-devouring, blazing fire, we had no hope of rescue till your Guru's strong desire inspired and empowered you to boldly cross the sea and teach the truths of bhakti so some souls would be set free. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, and to your soothing lotus feet I bow. Patiently you taught us how to chant the holy name, and how to dance, and how to sing, and what was life's true aim. And thus you gave us Lord Chaitanya's teachings unalloyed, and saved us from the all-devouring Mayavadi void. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, and to your soothing lotus feet I bow. When Krishna Bhakti spread, and you had centers here and there, you introduced the worship of the deities so fair. And soon throughout the world their lordships smiled upon your crew, and nourished strong devotion to themselves and unto you. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, and to your soothing lotus feet I bow. Prasadam was your special weapon. No one could resist. Once the Sunday feast had started, no one could desist. Halva, sweet rice, crisp pakoras, sabjis, puris, rice, with these and other preps, you did our tongues and hearts entice. Okay. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, and to your soothing lotus feet I bow. The books you shower down upon the masses and on us taught Scripture's sacred essence, bhakti pure and nectarous. And while you wrote, you relished Sri Sri Radha Krishna's name and form and pastimes, qualities, and everlasting fame. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, and to your soothing lotus feet I bow. While managing your ISKCON with the whole world as your stage, meeting, preaching, traveling like a person half your age, you served their lordship Sri Sri Radha Krishna in your heart, arranging for their pastimes in Vrindavan's secret part. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now, unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. The Guru is as good as God, you said, and some were shocked. But you had simply quoted Scripture, you did not concoct. And sure enough, for those who worship you as they would God, the path of bhakti opens wide and joyfully is trod. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. If you bestow your mercy, then Sri Krishna gives his too. But if your mercy is lacking, then there's nothing we can do. So every day we should reflect upon your life sublime and vow to serve you always with our body, words, and mind. O Prabhupada, your mercy is my only treasure now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. I pray that my small hymn, no lacking literary worth, presented to remind us of your pastimes on this earth, may find some favor both with you and with your devotees, who hover around your lovely lotus feet like maddened bees. O Prabhupada, I pray that you bestow your mercy now. Unto your soothing lotus feet I bow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And now, may one of our sannyasis come forward. Can you? Okay.
Tomorrow, my voice is recovering, so I'm going to go.
Okay.
You're going to go back.
Are we offering obeisances first?
Well, I
Or we-
offered, but yeah, you can also.
Sort of time consuming.
Spiritual event. I'm not sure of this. Will this chair with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
As much as it does. So I thought I would continue the Bhagavatam section that Maharaj read from this morning. That's a very appropriate and moving section of the Bhagavatam. It's filled with Prabhupada's own emotion, feeling the separation of his spiritual master. And it's also filled with Prabhupada's bhav, or vibration of how a disciple should think. You'll see. It's a very nice section of the Bhagavatam on this topic of what to do when the spiritual master departs. So this is the daughter of King Fadarvi, and she is lamenting the passing of her husband. And the analogy Prabhupada picks up and presents to us is that how we should feel at the departure of our spiritual master. And that's what today is. It's bittersweet, remembering Srila Prabhupada and then also lamenting his separation. Like Maharaj said this morning, someone preached to you when Prabhupada passed away and you were lamenting and angry and upset, and they were saying to you, don't you know Prabhupada's not his body? You said, that's not the point, where we've lost his association, sadhu sangha, the most pure association. So this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 28. It's the verse and excerpts from the purport for verse 48, 49, and 50. So text 48. And this is the queen lamenting the departure of her husband. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested by rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it's your duty to protect her. Prabhupada says in the purport, whenever an acharya comes, following the superior order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representatives, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. Religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Religious principles begin from the time one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the Acharya's duty to spread a bona fide religious system and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles, but when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciple of the Acharya tries to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of his spiritual master. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non-devotees from irreligious principles. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. I was in Prabhupada's room one time, and a man was asking, "Oh, Prabhupada, oh Guru, Maharajji, can you speak something about Krishna's incarnations?" Prabhupada slammed his hand down on the desk and said, "This ISKCON movement is an incarnation of Krishna, and he's come again to save the world." So Prabhupada has given his whole life to establish this ISKCON movement. And we see all around the world, it is pushing, but like the rising moon controls the tide, it's pushing back the tide. Prabhupada said the rising moon of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is pushing back the tide of Kali. So we have a duty to put our shoulder to the wheel and help push this movement forward. That's what a bona fide follower of Srila Prabhupada does. He doesn't lament, "Oh, I met a guy who told me, oh, well, Prabhupada's gone and you were all infused by Prabhupada's presence. Now he's gone. I don't feel that empowerment." What? That's a cheap excuse. Put your shoulder to the wheel and push Prabhupada's movement forward, and you will feel his presence. So just two more verses. Text 49. That most obedient wife thus fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully in that solitary forest. Thus the tears rolled down from his eyes. Prabhupada says in the purport, just as a devoted wife afflicted at the passing away of her husband, when a spiritual master passes away, the disciple becomes similarly bereaved. So are we left in that bereavement? Do we wallow in, oh, Prabhupada, you're gone, you're gone? Okay, that's for crying widows and old men. But what are we supposed to, are we left, alone in the desert? No. Read what Prabhupada has to say. And this is the last verse and short excerpt. She then prepared a blazing fire of firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire of her husband, with her husband. Purport. Srila Prabhupada says, similarly, a devoted disciple of the spiritual master would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down upon the earth to reestablish the principles of religion, so as representative, the spiritual master also comes to reestablish religious principles. Here's Prabhupada's point. It is the duty of the disciples to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with his spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all other personal considerations. So that's what it means to give up your life, to give up our life to the service of Prabhupada's mission. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. I think we can withhold applause. I think that's appropriate. Except for Maharaj.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your transcendental lotus feet. While endeavoring to write this humble offering on this most sobering day, thoughts of searing remembrances are engraved at that time of your departure from this world. Among so many devotees, including I, each recalls succinctly where we were at that exact moment when being disclosed to us this foreboding, devastating news. It was like an overwhelming void and being engulfed in deafening silence so loud of anguish. In Srila Prabhupada's divine presence, questionable situations that did arise due to mismanagement, lack of maturity, and or personal challenges, yet always one felt safe with Srila Prabhupada rectifying it all. Many times when a troublesome issue arose, Srila Prabhupada would ask, "Is everything all right?" A lot of devotees, including I, would feel those problems immediately dissolve, washed away into something insignificant. And if there was some specific difficulty, Srila Prabhupada so expertly took care of it. And then, all along throughout the years, before and thereafter, the teachings Srila Prabhupada had clearly imparted, impressing so many a time, by taking shelter, abiding by his instructions, sincerely in devotional service, I, for all, are always connected with his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. That famous example Srila Prabhupada had said in the beginning, "If we are in the same room with me, and your thoughts are elsewhere, you are not with me. But if you are in New York and I am in San Francisco, chanting and engaging in devotional service, we are not at all separated." That is the mystical potency and beauty of Krishna consciousness. I will never forget when we were in Vrindavan for several months at the Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir. I was asked to make a large quantity of ladus to be distributed, whoever came to have darshan in Srila Prabhupada's quarters. I was told to cook in Srila Prabhupada's sacred kitchen. It was very overwhelming, like being in another world, in a spiritual sky. Everything was just so immaculate, as if Prabhupada would come in the kitchen any minute. The tall, uniform triangular jars containing spices and or varieties of grains were filled so neatly with utmost care, along with the shiny utensils and cooking vessels hanging up or organized in their allotted drawers. While cooking the whole time, feeling Srila Prabhupada's divine Vani presence so apparent was such an unforgettable experience of true happiness. Memories just flooded forth that this was the same in Srila Prabhupada's Vapu presence when he was on this planet. Devotees would be scurrying around in intense anticipation and joyfulness, preparing for his divine grace's arrival. As one devotee described, wherever Srila Prabhupada arrived at a temple, it always smelled of fresh paint. Even in 26 Second Avenue and being in Srila Prabhupada's rooms upstairs, it was not of this world, not being in the Bowery. How I am beyond grateful for your compassion, tolerance, humility, strong as a thunderbolt, and perseverance in all your dealings. To my dear most spiritual master and spiritual father, I know I am insignificant in the hall of giants amongst devotees, but still, I know you are my forever spiritual master and spiritual father. Hare Krishna, begging to remain your servant always, Kanchambala Dasi.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Pachani Nipasesa Sundivadi Pastadale Starni. Srila Prabhupada, it's not that there's anyone who's ever going to fill your shoes. Your shoes are already filled and they always will be. There's no need for anyone to try to become the spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada. He's the founder Acharya. We should always remember that appearance and disappearance, as far as Krishna consciousness is concerned, it's all the same, because the personality is eternal. He's simply going from one place to another place. Sometimes the devotees would ask, Srila Prabhupada, if you're not here, how do I know that I'm pleasing you? And he said, well, the authority is there, the temple authorities, the temple president, the other authorities. If they're pleased, then I'm pleased. Srila Prabhupada is always present, and in his words and his instructions, there is no difference. And for those of us who are in mundane consciousness, it's a little hard to understand that. If you're not here, then you're not here, right? But Srila Prabhupada left everything for us. He didn't leave anything behind. He didn't leave for someone else to come along and take over. But his instructions are for everyone, and that means that he's still present. The first time I met Srila Prabhupada, I just saw him for the first time, and it was in Vrindavan. And I realized that if I'm reading Prabhupada's books or I hear him speak, it's the same exact thing. There's no real difference when you read Prabhupada's books. He's with you. He's present with you. Srila Prabhupada said, I've never feel that I'm without my spiritual master. And the important thing is to be following his instructions, because the nature of Maya is, as soon as we don't, then Maya is right there to capture us. So Srila Prabhupada is always here. We never be without him. I remember somewhere, I think in 1973 or 4, it was the appearance day of a spiritual master. And at the end of the lecture, he said, he was appreciating his disciples. He said, you're all helping me. And then he began to cry. And I felt like the biggest fool that ever lived, because he was so humble, but he was also feeling the presence of his spiritual master, because it was the Vyas Puja of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So Srila Prabhupada is always present for us, but we have to be able to access that. Okay, even Srila Prabhupada's picture, Srila Prabhupada is present. We should not misuse Srila Prabhupada's image. It is non-different. We should not step on it or disrespect it. Srila Prabhupada is fully present. So as far as myself, I'm very fortunate that I was just there. Like in the old days, that news program, you are there. Unfortunately, I didn't really do very much. But I saw him in so many different situations when he would preach, and how he would adjust his message. And he was always finding that little spark to fan, to make someone Krishna conscious. If he could make a fly Krishna conscious, he would have done it. But we should not feel that because he's not here, that we can, when the cat's away, the mice will play, right? We should never think that Srila Prabhupada isn't here. We should always know that he's just as much here and will always be here. he never spoke in terms of when I'm gone or something like that, because that's not an appropriate statement. He's never gone. He's here fully in everything to do with Krishna consciousness. The temples, if Krishna is there, Srila Prabhupada is there. Okay? It's a little difficult to understand the spiritual implication that, okay, someone's passed away, okay, well, you know, my mother passed away, my father passed away, I don't have any access to them anymore. But spiritually, we always have access to Srila Prabhupada. Always either following his instructions, maybe doing a little service. We should always know that our service is assisting him in his service. We're cooking something, we're offering it to Srila Prabhupada first, and he's offering it to Krishna. So Prabhupada's relationship to serving Krishna, we're simply assisting him. We have no access to Krishna directly. As soon as we become purified and return to the spiritual world, still, Srila Prabhupada will always be our spiritual master. Prabhupada said there will be ISKCON in the spiritual world. So, I thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yes, in the sake of time, if everyone can try to offer their obeisances before coming up, and they could offer their prayers before coming up and just start speaking. And if everyone could try to keep it under 5 minutes, that would be good. Yeah. Of course, we'd like to be here all night, and for many nights we can. But you know, we are working in a certain time frame. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada, in the dust of your lotus feet. It's so funny because I was working on an offering that would have taken much more than 5 minutes. Seriously. And then a dear friend of mine, a friend of 51 years, called me just as I was trying to work it and rework it and rework it. And I trashed it because I really realized that it's actually not so complicated, Krishna consciousness. It's very simple, shockingly simple. You know, when Srila Prabhupada left his body, I don't know, Badrinarayan Prabhu, you remember, I think we didn't think Prabhupada would ever leave. Is that right?
Well, we knew logically,
but we never. It just, yeah, logically, but factually, it was shocking, and I think we were all completely devastated, and this was just after Govardhan Puja, and it was as though King Indra's wrath was upon us, for sure. So fast forward 3 million years later, it feels like, seriously, and Srila Prabhupada's gem of Krishna consciousness is still with us, even more glowingly than I can imagine as an old person. I see his temples, I see his beautiful deities, I see his old devotees, and I see his baby devotees. I just see Srila Prabhupada's desire to please Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, to please and serve Sri Krishna in every way, and to save us all from this insanity. To save us all from this insanity. When I first came here from France to PB, I remember crying because we were living in the forests in New Mayapur for so long, and I came here and I thought, how can I live in this place? And today, as we were driving here, I thought, how did Srila Prabhupada do this? How could we live in this place? And I realized that the reason we can be here is because, in fact, Prabhupada arranged that we wouldn't be here at all in a certain way, because Prabhupada's gift to us is that somehow or other, even we're completely not qualified. We're not in this material world when we're following him, when we're serving him, when we're remembering him, when we're hearing from him. He gave us everything we need to become free of this insanity and to share from a compassionate heart with every single living entity. That was what he gave us, and it's inconceivable. And forever, I'm grateful, and I'm sure that you are. And the gift we can give Srila Prabhupada at this time is to give this Krishna consciousness to every single living entity that we come in contact with. And he gave us the package how to do it. And it isn't very complicated. From taking gulab-jamans that have been offered at the lotus feet of the Lord to giving gulab-jamans to others. And his books, oh my God. I'm so old, you guys. I'm so old. And every time I look at his books, every time I open and read a sentence, I'm in shock. I have to tell you. I'm like, oh my God, Srila Prabhupada. So that's all. Okay, I'm sure my 5 minutes are up, but thank you, all the old devotees and all the baby devotees and all those in the middle. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
May I? Okay. Whenever we, everyone in this room has experience, and anyone who actually is practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes you open up Srila Prabhupada's books, and whatever you read just goes right to the heart. That's the thing you needed to hear. And that's true with Srila Prabhupada. You're listening to a lecture, you're reading his books, but it's also true when different devotees are speaking. Somehow or other that, whatever they're saying, you're in a particular space of consciousness, and that message just perfect. And it goes very, very deep. We appreciate everything Srila Prabhupada is saying. We appreciate all the devotees in their preaching, but there's certain times we all have this experience that whatever was said right at that moment or whatever we read goes very, very deep. We were just open for some or other in our heart that message was very, very profound. So I was finishing this Keshava Swami's book on a trip home. I forget where I was flying home from. And in the back of the book, he has some Vyasa Puja offerings to Srila Prabhupada, and of course to his spiritual master too. And there's two of them. When I read them, I just, I guess the saying is stopped in my tracks, but I wasn't going, I was just sitting there. But it just really, really made a deep impression on me. And of course, it's an offering to Srila Prabhupada, and I felt that if I were to say something to Srila Prabhupada, this is what I would really like to say. So I want to read these two short offerings, if I may. Okay. The first one is called Intensive Care, and this is offering from 2018. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to your divine grace. Today I'm remembering your incredible sacrifices, unending compassion, and resolute determination. You tried everything, went everywhere, and approached everyone, leaving no stone unturned in your mission to uplift as many souls as possible. You were deeply concerned, meditating on your mission at every moment, tirelessly planning and plotting for a revolution of consciousness. If I'm bold enough to call myself your follower, I am genuinely grateful for what you have given me. How can I not embody the same acute care and concern for furthering your missionary work in this world? Question. Though trying to avoid the egotistical desire to make any mark, I'm impelled to share the fruits I've received from you as far and wide as possible. It's clear, however, that I'm falling short. Projects have come and gone, ideas have worked and then fallen apart, and some initiatives were thriving and then slowed down. What will I really have to offer you after all is said and done? Everything I'm trying is a work in progress, and slow progress at that. I'm sorry I don't have something more substantial to report. Recently, I've been attempting to hone in on what is actually required to build strong, sustainable, successful spiritual projects. My conclusion, intensive care. If we don't intensively care about what we do, in no time those projects will end up in the ICU, nearing death. I'm asking myself the hard question, how much do I deeply, genuinely, and sincerely care about my services in your movement? To deeply care about something means, then he has a list here, to never give up, to be ready and willing to do whatever it takes, to give quality time and undivided attention, to be constantly meditating on the goal, to maintain enthusiasm despite an absence of results and reciprocation, to invest all physical and mental capacities, to harbor no hidden agendas or personal motivations, to go that extra mile that nobody else would consider, to be immersed in the goal that's getting the credit pales into significance. You exuded all these qualities, never waning in your dedication to your own guru. On the order of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you shed 200 gallons of blood to spread this movement across the globe. Please bless me so I can develop an ounce of that deep care and concern for serving this mission. For me, it seems the most fitting way to express my insignificant thank you for everything you've given me. Begging to remain in your transcendental service. And this is when he was, before he was sannyasi, Sutapadas. The next one's a little shorter. It's called Keep On Moving, and this is from 2020. The author? Same author. It's Keshava Swami when he was a brahmachari. Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Actually, it's this is the one. A Living Enigma. And, okay. Dear Srila Prabhupada, thousands of respects to you. You were the global mendicant, the unassuming resident in Vrindavan, humbly residing at your simple but tranquil quarters at Radha Damodar Temple. Then you traveled to the Lower East Side and lived alongside the bums of the Bowery. People were shocked that you had relocated to the Skid Row of New York, but in those alien surroundings you were completely at peace. You were always living with Krishna, living with the order of Guru, and therefore everywhere was home for you. Who can understand your consciousness? You were a streetwise manager, practical and bold, one step ahead and as sharp as a saw. I'm a Calcutta boy, you told your disciples. Nobody can cheat me. Yet you were simultaneously a complete saint, generous and kind, fanning the spark without calculation, and compassionately bringing out the best in others. You were willing to extend yourself beyond the call of duty regardless of mistakes, weaknesses, or fall down of your disciples. Who can understand your heart? You unflinchingly called rich industrialists thieves, learned scientists rascals, and dubious politicians demoniac. Your speech was harder than a thunderbolt, yet you embodied deep humility, offered all credit to your guru, and shed tears of gratitude while thanking your disciples for their sincere endeavors to help. You are also, without doubt, softer than a rose. Who can understand your character? You live such a public life. Thousands of lectures, hours of meetings, one interview after another, and endless conversations. You were followed, recorded, and videoed around the clock in the glaring spotlight and always completely spotless. Yet your internal life was profound beyond comprehension. In the solitude of the morning hours, you bathed in the scriptures, availed of the saintly association of our predecessors, and connected so deeply with the holy names of Krishna. You were in constant communion with God. Who can understand your devotion? You were grave and serious, chaste and uncompromising. You never fell short of conveying the absolute truth, exposing the material phantasmagoria time and time again. Yet at the same time, you knew how to laugh, a sense of humor which had an appreciation for Charlie Chaplin's sketches and the amusing tales of Birbal. Full of joy, you showed how to practice spiritual life with a smile. Who can understand your shining personality? The list goes on forever and ever. The typing stops here, but my mind is still churning the paradoxical facets of your remarkable character. Where there is substantial service, sacrifice, seriousness, and sincerity, that's where we meet you. The spiritual master lives forever in his instructions, and the follower lives with him. I am praying for the day when I wholeheartedly serve you without hesitancy or resistance, no holding back. Then I can have the firm conviction that you will call and I will see you face to face, the perfection of life. Oh, when, oh, when. Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Okay.
Okay, so Parashakti Sampada, like to say something? No? Okay. Vaikuntha, like to say something? Okay, so Vaikuntha, then after that we'll Bhakti Sundar Goswami. Guru Krishna, you plan on saying something? Okay. So I have Vaikuntha, Bhakti Sundar Goswami, then Guru Krishna. All right. Do you like to say something? Okay. All right, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. It's an honor to be here, and I planned this short trip to San Diego before I knew that today was Prabhupada's Disappearance Day, and in Alachua, Florida, it goes on all day, the celebrations. And I actually feel like this is a more intimate and meaningful time for me to share, so I'll get right to it. Asking me to talk for 5 minutes is a challenge as it is, but about Srila Prabhupada, I could talk all night. So I just wrote this, and please bear with me. My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my deepest obeisances at your lotus feet. How could this 20-year-old boy have known what lay ahead when your glance impregnated my heart? That the love you implanted would one day become my only solace in this world. Your eyes, anointed by the tears of love, saw it all. My inauspicious past, my tortured future, all my anarthas, all my disqualifications to devotional service, all my future offenses to the Vaishnavas and to you, all my suffering due to my foolish decisions, all my false ego, false pride, the hubris of my youth, all my lust, anger, and greed. You saw it all, and yet you accepted me unconditionally. In my youth, I stood proud, like a tall ship in port, having yet set sail on its maiden voyage, only to encounter over the course of its life the rough seas and the rocks on which it would eventually be tossed, only to be dashed to pieces. You saw it all. In fact, at an age when most people would prefer to simply exist rather than embark on a mission to change the world, you embarked on a mission to change the world and boarded a divinely empowered ship and set out on an unknown voyage across the sea, protected only by your love and faith in Krishna and your Guru Maharaja's instructions. You would suffer mightily on that voyage, yet you were determined to serve and save those you did not even know, while offering unlimited paternal love to all the souls who dedicated themselves to your mission. Although I withheld so much. You withheld nothing. Your mercy growing exponentially in my heart and in hearts all over the world. For nearly 60 years, where else in creation can such miracles occur? And you saw it all. After you left this world, your mission would become fractured by the ambition of some men who would have installed themselves on your asan, completely unaware that such an undertaking was impossible. Krishna, in the form of time, would eventually rectify the situation, and it would become safe once again for the many fragile souls like myself to approach your institution. Now that institution thrives with newer generations of devotees who have arrived and taken birth in it to continue your mission of spreading the holy name all over the world. In fact, when a gentleman approached you in the earliest days, shortly after your arrival in America, you told him that there were many books and temples and that there was simply a time that is separating us from them. Once again, you saw it all. These days, all of America is consumed with the political rhetoric of division and separation. The world is likewise consumed by hatred, discord, and military struggles that benefit only despots and huge corporations. And of course, this is all dominated by total forgetfulness of the soul. Over 50 years ago, you spoke of the end of this American culture of unbridled materialism as well. But by your mercy, you introduced us to Sanatana Dharma, the eternal duty of the soul. Indeed, the value of just one of your gifts to us is incalculable. Once again, you saw it all. While on your departure bed, you remained Dhira. Even while your body racked with so much pain, the doctors could not understand how you could even remain living. You stated categorically, "Don't think this won't happen to you." Meanwhile, I carried on in my youthful days, completely oblivious to the dangers that lurked ahead. Now, with a body that has been battered on the rocks of the shore and a mind that struggles to contain its thoughts for more than a few moments, all I have left is your mercy, and you saw it all. O Srila Prabhupada, please take pity on this useless soul. Please grant me the strength and fortitude to serve you in a way that pleases you. Due to ignorance, I cannot see any path forward apart from your mercy. But if you choose, you can kick out all obstacles. Today, I pray for that kick of your lotus feet on my head. For you always see it all. Your insignificant son, if I come today. Hare Krishna.
I would like to offer a prayer to Srila Prabhupada. Namashreshtam manumapi satchiputra matra swarupam rupam tasyagrajam murupurim maturim goshtavatim radha kunda girivaram ahoradhika madhavasam praptoyasya pratita kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi. I included this prayer in my book, Prabhupada in Venezuela. I'm going to read the translation from there. Some of you already know the book. It's the first and only Prabhupada visit to South America, Venezuela. And everything he spoke is here, everything. Conversation with psychiatrists, with yoga groups, metaphysical group, university professors, morning walks, Bhagavatam, everything is here. And the appendix is completely there. And the book is already out of, what you call? Not out of print. Not out of print. It was just printed recently in India, so I brought some copies, but we already run of all the copies. But I'm coming back in a couple weeks, more or less, November 12th, for a couple days. So if anybody interested to have the book, just give me your name and I will bring it to you. And you have to come to the temple to collect it. Okay? It's up to you. Anyway, so here is the translation of the prayer. Prabhupada liked this prayer. I remember we used to say it before Guru Puja, before singing the Guru Puja song. Then we stopped for some reason. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have received the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachi Mata, the association of Sarup Damodar Rupa Goswami and his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava and Vrindavan. This is Sri Mukta Charita by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. When Srila Prabhupada was on his last day in Vrindavan, one day he expressed his desire to go on Govardhan Parikrama with bullock car. He said, bullock car. Immediately devotee arranged the bullock car to take him, but many devotees protested. No, Prabhupada's health is not good at all. He may die on the ride, on the parikrama. The other devotees say, well, if that is his wish, desire, we shall fulfill the desire of the Guru, whatever it is. So there was a, controversy there, and came to Prabhupada. And Tamakrishna Maharaj told Prabhupada, devotees are very much in anxiety for your well-being. They think that it's very dangerous for you now to go on this Govardhan Parikrama. So Prabhupada stopped it. He said, no, I don't want to put the devotees in anxiety. He stopped it. And I read some time ago, recently I shared it actually with the devotees, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada's guru, he said, my eternal residence is in Govardhan, not in Radhakunda. That is the place of my gurus, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaurkishore Das Babaji. I will go from Govardhan to Radhakunda to assist them in their service to the divine couple, Radha Krishna Yugal. But I will stay in Govardhan. So I thought, oh, there is a connection there. Prabhupada desire to go to Govardhan could be the desire to assist his guru in his eternal service, like that. I mean, that's my personal realization or understanding. So when Prabhupada went to Venezuela, he stayed 7 days there. I had the good fortune to be initiated by him at that time, in February 75. And the day he left, we felt, all the devotees were crying because we didn't know when we are going to see him again. Fortunately, we could see him again in New York Ratha Yatra a year later. 30 devotees from the temple, ladies and boys, we went there and have a chance to have his darshan again. But I expressed my feeling. When Srila Prabhupada left, I felt his separation deeply. My heart was bleak, and I thought, oh my beloved Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, when I will see you again chanting your melodic nectarian bhajan? When will I hear your transcendental talks? When will I again see your beautiful smile and your merciful glance, which removes the dust from my mind? Please accept me as one of your sons, although I am unworthy of it. If a man is poor and then becomes rich and then lose everything again, he laments his loss continually. Thus there is the saying, nobody knows what he has until he loses it. But in the spiritual life, there is no loss. Everything is gain. The beauty of Krishna consciousness is that love does not diminish due to absence. It increases. In a letter addressed to a disciple, Srila Prabhupada explained the proper attitude for one who feels sadness due to separation from the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada's words: to miss or to feel separation from the spiritual master or Krishna is very favorable. This means that one who has pure love for Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master, always think of them. This way of thinking is Krishna consciousness. If we can always think of Krishna even in separation, that is considered Krishna consciousness. On the absolute plane, there is no difference between separation and meeting. Separation is also union. Rather, in separation, the affective relation is tasted even more. So do not be disappointed when you are separated from me. I'm always thinking of you and how you are progressing in that place. This is a letter to Krishna Das, October 21st, 1968. So, this is a very deep understanding of Krishna consciousness. That in the material world, when you are separated from a beloved person, after some time you forget. It's not so like when the person was present. It's not the same thing. It diminishes with time, no? But in the spiritual life, Prabhupada is saying that when the separation, if there is real love, it intensifies the feeling. It intensifies the union. Separation, it is felt when we miss the person, and that feeling increases the feeling of union. So, and Prabhupada said that is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, why my disciples are obeying me? Why they are, everything I tell them they do? I'm not paying them. It's only out of love. Actually, this whole movement grew up and expanded all over the world because the disciples' love for their Guru. That's it. That's it. So that's, Prabhupada said also, this movement should be established on two things: love and trust. Love and trust. If these things are lacking, then everything becomes, very much, like political and all these things. Once Prabhupada told the devotee, we are going to have another ISKCON in the spiritual world. Prabhupada said, no. The devotee said, no, please, Prabhupada, one is enough. Prabhupada said, no, the other one there is going to be different. No politics, no, only love and Krishna, serving Krishna. No. So, I recently was in Boise. I felt very sick. I had a severe cold. And I have to give the class both days before Govardhan was, what was the day? Diwali and then Govardhan. And I have, every 2 minutes I have to, sneeze and clean the mucus, not mucus, but water from my eyes and the people thought I was in ecstasy. I have to clear to them, no, I'm not in ecstasy, I'm suffering, I wish to be in ecstasy. And I felt so much connected to Prabhupada because I thought, okay, I'm trying to do this to please Prabhupada, although I'm in a very bad shape, my health, but I can't not do it. I had a headache, it was a very bad state. And I had to chant the Madhurastaka. So every 1 minute I have to, grab something to clean my nose and keep chanting. Was really, really difficult. But I felt at that moment stronger my connection with Prabhupada, because I felt I'm doing this only to please him. So that's the secret. Like I told this morning, one devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, how can I please you? And he said, your desire to please me pleases me. So that's practically everything. I'm sorry I took more time than 5 minutes, but Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
You have Guru Krishna and then Mukunda Charn after him.
It's good if the devotees offer obeisances to Prabhupada ahead of time, so they're queued up, we're ready to go. That gives more time for others to speak. So if you're next, offer obeisances now and be queued up, if possible.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. So much bad is happening in my life and in the world around me, and without your books and followers, I would not be able to be a sane person. Additionally, I feel excitement of returning home back to Godhead, back to Krishna. It's only by your mercy, Srila Prabhupada. In order to repay you, which is actually impossible, I'm planning on serving your followers and working to attract new people to your message of love of God. You are right, Srila Prabhupada. The people are trying to enjoy, but they are attempting to do so in the wrong ways and are frustrated, chewing the chewed. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Your undeserving grand disciple, Guru Krishna Das.
I missed most of this and now I'm forgetting. Has everyone been offering their pranam mantras just when offering obeisances and not before speaking? Right, okay. I was remembering a book, not a devotional book, a karmi book, a V-karmi book from, it would have been over 10 years ago, but by Mr. John Steinbeck, popular, especially here in California, popular man, popular author. And so in one of his books, he has this line which stuck with me, that he's describing one of his characters in the book, and he describes him as having neither the stupidity, nor the self-righteousness, nor the greediness to ever want to become a saint. And I thought it was a nice line. He has this character had neither the stupidity, the self-righteousness, nor the greediness ever to become a saint, or want to become a saint, I think it was. And from one perspective, we can look at John Steinbeck and we can see that he has some envy for God. he has some nasty quips about religion in general, and some, general cynicism, just kind of negativity toward God, people who believe in God and God himself, and you see it in his writing. And then at the same time, we can look and see how he has some good points to make about the hypocrisy in religion and why many people give it up and are uninspired by it. and think it's the furthest thing from actual good. So sometimes that comes to mind. Recently, it came to mind. Anyway, different thoughts from my mind about. Actually, it came up because there was a verse in a purport for Srimad Bhagavatam class, and then I was looking at those verses, and then that was reminding me of some statements by Srila Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then one quote came up from his biography where he's saying, and some of you may remember me bringing this up then, saying that, oh, with what hope did we come to Krishna consciousness? Or with what hope did we come to Hari Bhajan, I think he says. And now look at us. And now look, yeah. And then at least we can say, look what can happen. And thinking about that, thinking about myself and thinking about different specimens, it was on my mind that one can, or I may come to Krishna consciousness with, by the mercy of Krishna and the devotees, with the actual Krishna conscious objective. I want to become Krishna conscious. And then that can become eclipsed by the desire to become a saint or to become a speaker, to become some sort of leader, some sort of guide, praised in some way, the old subtle sex desire, which we talk about. And so John Steinbeck pointed these things out. He also noted in so many religious people and priests and so on, saints, they're in it for something, not just to be saintly, they don't just want to be good, they want to be seen as good. Worse than being bad would be to be known to be bad. And so in thinking about that, Srila Prabhupada is just the most refreshing relief from this. It's all over, this disappointing. You find a leader, you find a guide, and then there's just some gross, I guess we'll say anartha. And so we find that, and then we come to Krishna consciousness, and we come in contact with Krishna consciousness, and we see Srila Prabhupada, and it's such a relief. Oh my God, there's someone who is actually free from self-righteousness, despite actually being more righteous than anyone, actually being free from self-righteousness, not being in it for self-righteousness, being free from greediness for money, donations, you could say, because some gurus truly are. You look at it. By gurus, I'm referring to outside of ISKCON. Don't worry, I'm not getting too controversial. But then also stupidity. Mr. John Steinbeck talks about the stupidity that it takes to want to become a saint. And Srila Prabhupada was not unaware of the difficulties, all of the pain that he would undergo in trying to be a saintly person, and trying to help other people. And so I was thinking about that line from this Karmi book. I don't recommend it. I'm not pushing John Steinbeck on anybody, but with that in mind, and with that cynicism, and then seeing Srila Prabhupada and this is refreshing relief, I was appreciating that. What a wonderful example. Hare Krishna.
So before we move on to the next part of the gathering, we'll have a presentation of glorification of Srila Prabhupada starting at 7:15. Is Prem around? Anyone seen Prem? Or okay, he's ready to. I think that Vyasa-san needs to move because he's going to do the presentation here. So before that, recently I've been going through Srila Prabhupada's recorded lectures. A very wonderful devotee in India. He distributes these little boxes, audio box. It's audio box with a TF card. It has all of Prabhupada's morning walks, lectures, so on. So I encourage everyone, as far as possible, to go through those. It's very amazing. I'm convinced there's a difference between reading, like a morning walk, for example, and hearing it. That voice has, and we have Shastric reference for that also, which in the Bhagavatam there's some verses describing that. It has a special power. So recently I was hearing one morning walk, and like many of you have noted here, reading Srila Prabhupada's books or hearing them. It's quite, yeah, it's very impactful, spiritually impactful experience. So he was mentioning, he was on a morning walk, and he was in Germany, 1974, I believe. And he was saying how he was talking to his disciples and asking them, he was bringing up this movement. I think it's a moral reformation movement. It happened after World War II, something like that. Anyways, it was a movement that really took off, but over time it just dwindled. And then Srila Prabhupada, he said, well, will that happen to our movement too? And then Satsrup Das Goswami, he said, no, we already have this generation coming up. He was mentioning the Gurukul, the young devotees coming up. So when we think about that, and that was mentioned many times in Srila Prabhupada's life, people saw him as an elderly man and with all of his young disciples and so on. Another case in India, they asked him, what's the future of your movement? And then he said, the future of my movement is very bright. But my followers, they have to follow my instructions, provided they follow my instructions. So anyone who's been trying to practice Krishna consciousness for some time, we understand that that's the challenge. We have we have a wonderful spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and all of his followers. So the challenge is to try our best to live up to those instructions. So we could take this day as an opportunity to check ourselves. What am I following? What am I not following? What can I be following better? And this way, we can contribute to the bright future of the Hare Krishna movement. Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the next. Maybe he's just going to jump out and I don't know. It's a presentation glorifying Srila Prabhupada, and he'll speak for himself. So we'll see right now. Maybe I'll go ask him if he's ready to. It's a drama, so.